ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 29, verse number 11. So in these two verses 10 and 11, Sri Sukadeva Goswami explained how the gopis who were in intense separation from Krishna, and because of that they meditated on him very intensely, gave up their Gunmaya Deha and attained him. So we read the two explanations of their becoming free from inauspicious things and auspicious things. How from karma point of view or jnana point of view it was explained one way, or from bhakti point of view it was explained in another way. Then this other one was Tameva Paramatmanam Jarbuddhya Visangata Jahur Gunmayam Deham Sadhya Prakshina Bandhana. So we are reading that what it really meant of giving up the Gunamaya Deha. So he says Atra Heyo Ayam Atra Vivekaha. So here this is to be deliberated upon, what it really is. So he says Guru Updishta Bhakti Arambha Dasata Eva Bhaktanam Shravana Kirtana Smarana Dandavat Pranati Paricharyadi Mayam Shuddha Bhakto Shrotradishu Pravishhtayam Satyam Nirguno Madapashraiti Bhagavadukter Bhaktaha Swasotradibhir Bhagavad Gunadikam Vishay Kurvan Nirguno Bhavati. So he says, basically what he's saying is that there are two types of bodies simultaneously in one body. So he says that one takes shelter of a guru and then starts practicing under the instruction of the guru. Guru Updishta Bhakti Aram Dashataiva. So they engage in hearing, Sravan, Kirtan, doing Kirtan, Smaran, Dandavat Pranati, bowing down to devotees, to Guru, to the deities, and Paricharyadi Mayam Suddha Bhaktam. So, and perform other types of services. So these are activities of pure devotion. Means these are the activities which are, if you remember, Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Remember? Sangha Siddha, Arup Siddha, Swarup Siddha. So these are Swarup Siddha Bhaktis. So once one takes shelter of Guru and starts engaging in Swarup Siddha Bhakti, so then what happens? That Shrotradishu Pravishtayam Satyam. So this Bhakti enters into the person through the ears, through the eyes, through the senses. So the various senses which are being engaged in devotional activities, then Bhakti enters in that. Because we know that name, form, etc. of Krishna, they are spiritual, they are not material. Ata Sri Krishna Madina Bhaved Grahya Mindre Sevan Mukha Bhajivado Svaneva Spurtyada. So this name, etc. of Bhagwan, the form, the Vigraha in the temple, they are not material. So they manifest on the senses of the devotees when the devotee becomes unmukha for seva, becomes inclined to engage in service. So then these things manifest on the senses. And because name is not material, and name is also Chintamani, right? Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Nitya Mukta Abhinnatvat Nam Nam. So it is Chintamani. Chintamani means that if it touches anything, it transforms that object also similarly. So therefore the bhakta becomes nirguna, because the activities which are performed for the sake of Krishna, they are nirguna activities. So satvikaha karako asangi, if you perform activities as duty without sense of doership, without trying to enjoy the result of the activities, they are in sattva-guna. And ragandho rajasa smrita, if you perform activities with fruitive motive, and they are in the rajaguna. And tamasa smriti vibhrashta, when you are lost, you don't know what you are doing. You are coming or going or standing, you don't know. So that is tamas, confused state of mind. And manishtham nirgunam smritam. So when one is fixed on Krishna, that is nirguna. So he says nirguno madapashraya, when one takes shelter of Krishna then that is nirguna. Iti bhagavadukter bhaktah svashotrādibhir bhagavad gunadikam vishayi kurvan nirguna bhavati. So therefore, when one is making the name, form, etc. of Krishna as the object of his or her senses, then these senses or the body become also nirguna, because all these things are nirguna. But we are also watching movie, right? Video, newspaper, all this. WhatsApp, Instagram. So that is not nirguna. So that is saguna. So now you have two modes of your senses. They are working nirguna and saguna. Sometimes saguna, sometimes nirguna. So therefore he says, Vyavaharik shabdadikam api vishay kurvan gunmayo bhavati. So when he is engaging in material sounds, material objects, forms, activities, so then he is gunamaya. His senses and his body are material. So these are two. So therefore he says, Bhakta dehasya amsena nirgunatvam gunmayatvam cha syat. So therefore the body of a devotee is partly material, partly spiritual. So it is called Deha Sankara. Not Varna Sankara, but Deha Sankara. Body mixture. So that depends on how much mixture, how much percentage of which, how much material, how much spiritual. That depends on how much you are engaged in which activity. So tatascha bhakti paresanubhavo virakti anyatra chaisa trikaika kala prapadyamanasya yathasnateshu tushti pushti ksudha kshudanupayonughasam. So he says iti tushti pushti kshudapayo anughasam iti nyayena bhakti vriddhi tartamyena nirguna dehamsanam adhikya tartamyam syat tena cha gunmaya dehamsanam kshinatva tartamyam syat. So now as you engage in bhakti, so then what happens? That your percentage of your gunmaya starts diminishing and percentage of nirguna starts increasing. Just like when you are hungry and you eat food, so your hunger is satisfied, tushti, and your body gets nourished, pushti, and kshudapayo, your hunger gets removed. So similarly, here when you start performing devotional activity, but you have to do it sincerely, not with some material motive or just because you are asked to do it, you have to do it. So then what happens? Gradually the materialism starts reducing and spiritualism increases. So it's gradual process like that. For some it may happen instantaneously, but generally this is the process. This is the process which Rupa Goswami has described. Ādav Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Tata Bhajan Kriya Tata Anarthani Vriti Syat. So all this Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav and Prema. Once one achieves Prema, then the body is fully spiritual. And one starts with material, then gradually improves. So depending how one engages in sadhana. So therefore it says Sampurna Prema Premani Utpannetu Gunmaya deha amseshu nashteshu samyak nirguna eva deha syat. So when prema is manifest fully, then the gunmaya deha is completely removed and only the spiritual one, nirguna, remains. So therefore such a devotee becomes fully spiritual. So then why this? They may still look material, because in case of gopis they were born here in Vraja, they saw Krishna there with the devotees, so they still have something remaining in them and their body is dropped. Or some sadhan siddhas here in the material world. So how is that this gross body is still visible? Now if they become nirguna, then they should become invisible. So it says, Thula deha patastu bahirmukh mata utkhata bhavartha. So their gross body continues and it also drops when time comes for death, so that the non-devotees do not become confused. So they think that these devotees are also just like any other people. So they don't see any difference. So they see the deity, they say, oh, this is just stone, why these people are worshipping this? So this is something very esoteric in the field of bhakti, that externally it looks just like anything else, but internally there is different world. So bhakti yogasya rahasyatva rakshartham cha bhagavata maya pradarshate. So therefore Bhagavan, he keeps his bhakti as secret, rahasya, and therefore he makes it appear like that to everyone else. So only devotees understand this and they continue with their life. So he gives an example, yatha Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam yadavanam. So as in the case of Śrīmad-Bhāgavata, so then he could have made his associates just disappear, right? As he left, at least according to Bhāgavatam, when Krishna left, there was no body of Krishna remaining there, right? Just disappeared, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just disappeared. So, but he arranged for this Śrīmad-Bhāgavata so that people look, oh, they killed each other. But this was just to remove the spiritual form and make them disappear. It's also described by Jiva Goswami in Krishna Sandarbha that he wanted to separate the devas, because some devas also came and participated. So this is quite an amazing explanation. He has given this explanation earlier also. If you remember, in the 3rd Canto, 26th chapter. So Anushravnik Devanam Gunalinganam Anushravik Karmanam Satvayeka Manasa Vritti Satvati Satviki Tuya. So Animitta Bhagavati Bhakti Siddher Gariyasi Jariyate Ashu Kosham Nigirnam Anloyatha. So that Jariyati Ashu Kosham, that he was explaining the same thing. Kosha means, this is Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha. So there also he wrote a long explanation how the body of a devotee changes when he engages in this Nirguna Bhakti, Animitta Bhagavati Bhakti Mukta Siddhir Gariyasi. So same he is explaining here. It's not giving that many details. I also wrote an article on that in that time. So he says that क्वचित भक्ति योगोत्कर्ष ज्ञापनार्थम न दर्श्यते च यथा ध्रुवादीनाम. So sometimes when he wants to show the supremacy of bhakti, then he can also show this, that the body just is transcendental, does not change. So as in case of Dhruva. So in case of Dhruva it is described that when he was entering into the plane which the Vishnu-dutas came to bring him, then his body transformed. Say he went in the same body. So actually he didn't go in the same body, the material body disappeared and spiritual body, because they say that he became golden. So golden there describes his transcendental body. So therefore he did not have to die. Like here in case of gopis is saying that they gave up the body. Dhruva did not give up the body. So atra pramanam ekadashe panchavinshtitam adhyaye श्रद्धादयो निर्गुणा गुणमयाश्च प्रदर्शयता ये निमे निर्जिता सौम्य गुणा जीवेन चित्तजाः भक्ति योगेन मन्निष्ठो बद्भावाय प्रपद्यते इति अनेन भक्त्या एव गुणमय वस्तूनां निर्जयो नाशये वक्तो भगवता. So he says, what is the proof of this? So proof is in Bhāgavatam itself, because Bhāgavatam is the Bhakti Grantha. So he says there in the 11th Canto, 25th chapter, Sri Krishna teaching to Uddhava, he himself is talking about. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about 3 types of Shraddha, 3 types of Dhriti, 3 types of happiness, 3 types of Jnana, 3 types of Karta, right? All these three types. In Bhagavatam, he talks of 4 types. So in Gita, he only talks of things in Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. But in Bhagavatam, he talks of 4 types of Shraddha, 4 types of agent, 4 types of residence, 4 types of happiness, all these 4 types. So the 4th one is the Nirguna one. So there the agent is also Nirguna. So that is transcendental devotee. And there he concludes like this. He says, Yena ime nirjita saumya guna jivena chittaja. He says, oh dear Uddhava, one who has conquered over these gunas which are product of one's chitta. Because we are controlled by our chitta, right? So, Shraddha mayo ayam purusha, yoya Shraddha se eva. So, Purusha is Shraddhamaya, and that Shraddha is in the Sattva or Chitta, there he uses the word Sattva. So, Chitta is made of the gunas, and whatever are the gunas there, that's what you act upon that. So then this person becomes nirguna by performing bhakti. He says, Bhakti yogena mannishta. By performing bhakti, one becomes rooted in me and mad bhavaya prapadyate, and then attains my bhava. Means now he becomes free from the gunas because he has attained Bhakti Bhava. So this is how he explains that by performing bhakti, how one can transcend things which are made of guna. And this transcending the guna itself is described here as destruction of the gunas. Because it is not really destruction. Nothing is destroyed, but one becomes free from that. So therefore he says, Gunmaya Vastu Nam Nirjayo Nasaye Vakto Bhagavata. That this conquering over this is called destruction. So this was the giving up of the bodies by the gopis. Tanmaji.
Maharaj, I wanted to see how this works with what we have learned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So there we learned that Bhava is a singular final stage, role of sadhana. And before Bhava, you don't really have Bhava. We have all these stages of Anarthani Vriti, Nishtha and so on. And then at the time of Bhava, that's where your final attainment is of the sadhana, and then the sadhana ceases, and you have achieved the sadhya. And that's how sadhana is defined also. So now here he's saying that Bhava is there in the senses, and partially there, and then partially with some material body. So how do the two work, I guess?
So maybe I give you an example. So you have a water, you put it on fire. So water boils at 100 degrees. Everybody knows that. In Vrindavan it boils at 105 because it's very salty. So at 100 degree water turns into steam. But it doesn't reach 100 degree immediately. It's gradually heating up. You put it on the stove and the heat is going inside. It's heating. And then it hits 100 degree and then water turns into steam. So like that bhav is coming, but before that the heat is coming. All this asakti, ruchi, nishtha, anarthani vriti. So from shraddha it starts heating up. And depending on how intense is the flame, then it will heat slowly or quickly. And then whether you are adding more cold water into it, then it may never heat up to 100 degree. So that's how it is happening when you are performing your sadhana. So you are heating up. And if you are doing things which are antagonistic to bhakti, then you are cooling it. So all this aparadhas, criticizing devotees, backbiting, this criticizing Guru, criticizing Vaishnavas, not trusting the Shastra, and all these aparadhas, nam aparadh basically. Seva aparadh, nam aparadh, dham aparadh. So they are like you are pouring cold water into the pot, or you are turning the flame slow, or you may be switching it off sometimes. Because some people give up sadhana. So then there is no more heating. So that's how it goes. And you can, I will tell you the secret, so that you can know how hot you are. So you sit down and try to do japa. Then see how your mind runs and how you feel. Do you really feel like doing japa, or you are thinking what a burden this is? So from that you can understand where you stand. Whether you understand or overstand or you stand. So you can understand that. There are many other ways, but this is one simple way. So you don't have to tell to anybody, so it's all right, don't worry, but at least you should know yourself, I mean, you can fool others, there is no problem. But you cannot fool yourself, How will you fool yourself, tell me? Is it possible? Although we say sometimes that you are just deceiving yourself, but actually what does it mean deceiving yourself? You know it. So this is a simple way. But now if you go higher and higher, there are more levels. Now if you see in case of gopis, what was their Gunmaya Deha? They are already beyond bhava. So this is very tricky thing. This is where you understand what is Uttama Bhakti. This is the whole analysis which is being done here. This is the whole point of what is Anukulyena Krishna Anusilana. So then when you come to that level, then you see, because what is that? That Kubja is also having association with Krishna. Queens are also having association with Krishna. Gopis are also having association with Krishna. What is the difference? So this is the subtle, high, very, very refined differences. But you don't have to worry about that now. Now you worry about japa part. So this bhakti is actually very, very refined. There is so much refinement in it that you get amazed that up to this point refinement is happening. That Uddhava is already praying to these gopis. He was not saying, I'm praying to these Nitya gopis and not the other ones. These gopis are so high class, but even they are getting refined here. I mean, these sadhana siddhas we are talking about, these are not ordinary people. They are not ordinary ones. They are beyond everything else outside Vraja is nowhere near them. They are so high class. But here the refinement is happening. Then you will understand what Mahaprabhu came to give, which people think is so easily available, cheaply available anywhere, this bhav, that bhav. Don't want to talk about, otherwise people think I'm always speaking against it. You will understand what is Manjari Bhavana. It's very easy to say, where is the Kunja? Kunja is here, Kunja is there. First understand what are you trying to get into. It is not a cheap thing. Uddhava is not a fool. We sometimes get into this idea, that we are better than when I was in ISKCON, one guru was telling that ISKCON devotees are better than Lakshmi. In Mayapur lecture he said it. I was amazed. No, you can be, but don't say you are. Don't be so bold. You don't know who Lakshmi is. But sometimes we get into this fake, imagined ideas. First you understand what is being described here. This Mahaprabhu is an amazing person. What he came, it is not just like that Krishnadas Kaviraj saying that if you apply your logic on Mahaprabhu, then you will understand who he is. But first you have to know logic to apply on it. If you don't even know that, how will you apply? So Mahaprabhu does not need a proof whether he is mentioned in the Upanishad where that he is an avatar and whether he is mentioned in some Purana or not. He doesn't need that. If you can just understand who is he, because you can find some proof, so what then? Then you'll think he's another avatar. No, his proof of his being Swayam Bhagavan is what he gave, that's all. Because nobody else can give. Nobody can even explain this to you. It is not possible. How can anyone explain this? Because they don't have themselves. Ramchandra cannot explain this. Nrsimhadev cannot. This is not their job. This is Krishna. It is he only who. They cannot do this. Ramchandra cannot do this. Surpankha came, Ravana's sister, wanted to marry him. Look what they did. They cut his nose, her nose. Here millions of gopis are running to Krishna. He says, yes, come. Can any avatar do this? Openly. This is 5,000 years ago. When you can understand how orthodox and parochial Indian society was at that time when he was doing this. Even now you cannot do it. Even now they'll cut your head, you try to do anything like this. So this is not ordinary thing what is being described here. This is the prema. This is what it means, anyabhilashita shunyam. This is the shunya. Anyabhilashita, absolute anyabhilashita shunyam. Absolute, 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 not thought. Otherwise you can say, I want to do service to Krishna, and you also have some sense of pleasure for yourself. This is why I explained that why this motive has been chosen of women and men, and why they go to the extent of showing as if they are having a physical relationship. Because even up to that extent they do not have the sense of self-enjoyment. Where it is impossible for any human being to control one's mind to that extent. Because if there will be any trace of enjoying yourself, you are rejected immediately. This is what is happening here. They were purified to this extent. This is the Jahor Gunmayam Deha. So this explanation you will not find anywhere except in our Sampradaya. And if somebody is giving, they must have read it. Jiva Goswami describes, and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because only they know this. Nobody else knows. No one. Their mind cannot reach to this level. So this is the Parampara Vidya. This, no one's mind can think of it. Otherwise somebody would have explained, so many hundreds of commentaries have written on Bhāgavatam. Nobody, even Sridhar Swami was explaining that the bodies were given Papa and Punya. He explained. And even Vallabhacharya was saying that, read his commentary also. It's explained same way. But you see how he says this does not fit in Bhakti. He wrote that. He said this is not, so it's
that state cannot be reached until you contemplate through, you act through that Siddha Deha. Many people they say Bhakti starts from Siddha Deha, and some people they say Bhakti starts from Nam Jap. How do you separate?
So Bhakti is defined of three types: Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So Sadhana Bhakti starts before, obviously not with Siddha Deha. How will you reach Siddha Deha? Why should Guru award you just like that?
Unconditional mercy.
Unconditional?
Mercy.
Person?
Mercy. Yes.
So then what is your role?
Just follow it to say. Yes.
So therefore there is no sadhana.
Following is sadhana.
Where is the sadhana if you already have Siddha Deha? Sadhana for what? If you already got Siddha Deha, then where is the sadhana? Sadhana is for attaining Siddha.
No, they give the some template for meditation. Like they say, you are such and such gopi, your service should be like this. You meditate on those services, so that is your sadhana. Like
so
that.
Now you are coming back to same thing what I am saying. So you have to do sadhana with this body only. Because you yourself are saying they are giving you a template, they are not giving a Siddha Deha. So you are doing sadhana with this body or with this Siddha Deha? Which one?
No, the question is whether the bhakti starts from...
Which bhakti you are talking about? That's why I am saying that
Swarupa Siddha. Swarupa Siddha Bhakti.
Swarup Siddha Bhakti anybody can do. Because that's the Swarupa of it. It doesn't depend on your Swarupa. So Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasvigha. Purna Siddha Nitya Mukta Abhinatvat Nam. Anyone can take the name. That is Swarup Siddha Bhakti. But you have to become purified. That's what he was saying. When he was saying that when you accept the Guru and you start this process, then you start developing your spiritual body. That's what he explained. So it's not that he got that body immediately. He said Tartamya. Tartamya means gradation. So as with the intensity you perform your sadhana bhakti, then your body develops accordingly. Malati.
I have two questions. One is whether every sadhana siddha who reaches Goloka has to go through this process of purification and refinement as these gopis do?
Yes. If this is the goal, then they have to. You cannot associate with Krishna unless you are absolutely pure. If you have some other bhava, then it is not necessary. Obviously.
And the other question, there's a verse in the 11th Canto 11:29-34 where Krishna explains how a mortal being can attain him. There also Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gives an explanation. We had an article on that also. And there, what I understood there is that there are two ways how the transcendental body is created. One way is by gradually, by doing sadhana. And the other option to understand the verse is that at the time of initiation itself, the transcendental body, the Siddhadya, is created. So, if we take this option, then it would mean that there are indeed two bodies. There's a material body and a spiritual body inside.
It is the same thing. There is no difference between them. Just try to understand it. It's like created means you are given now the path, you are given the process, you are authorized. So now you have to grow it. It's like a seed, like the way it is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That it is a Bhaktilata Bij. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhaktilata Bij. So you have the seed and you grow it by doing sadhana. That's what he's describing. There's no difference. It's just the way of how you look at it.
Okay, so the Diksha is giving the seed and then that body develops.
Yes.
So it becomes more and more spiritualized. And that is in the case of these gopis, that was mixture.
Yeah, mixture now is not like our mixture, that's what I'm saying. Their mixture is that even if they had 100% spiritual body, let's say, but in the mind there may be a fraction of desire to enjoy themselves with him. That is the material part, if we can use the word material. It's not something that they had a body like ours, and then it has to be removed and some panch tattvas are there, mahabhutas, panch mahabhutas. It's at that level of consciousness. That with Krishna you have to be absolutely, that is the Uttama Bhakti, Anyabhilashita Sunyam. So Gyan Karmadi Anavritam. What is Anavritam? Covering. Covering is something which is independently that I want this, I want that, that is Gyan and Karma. So even if you are devoted to Krishna, you are doing everything, but inside there may be some thought. Out of 10 million thoughts, you get one thought of enjoying. So even that is not allowed here. That's the point which is being made. That is the Gunmaya. That is what was given up at that time. That's what was got burnt in this fire of separation.
Okay, so the Gunamaya Deha was not really a gross material body, but that was more...
Yes, just think of it something in the mind. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Bhagavati, I have a question about the Anarthani Vriti process. If Anarthani Vriti can take millions and millions of times till the person pass through it, or according to the amount of samskaras that the person achieve, or if there is something that can make it faster.
So there is nothing specific about it that take millions of times or this. It is on the individual person how intensely you perform. Just like I gave the example of heating the water. How much heat you put into it, and you don't put something else to cool it. So if you have very low heat, means very little sadhana, then it can remain there for hours and hours and not boil. Because it's also getting cooling down with the atmosphere, some heat is getting lost. Means in our material life you are always doing some aparadh here and there, knowingly, unknowingly. So that's waste of heat. So you cannot say anything. Purushottam Prabhu.
Yes, this reminds me of at the time of creation when Brahma, when he created doing all this, then he gave up, they say he gave up his body. That is explained, he is giving up different bhavas at that time.
Yeah.
So he's giving his one bhava, then he keep increasing his bhava, intensity of bhava, and then the whole creation is made. This looks like same thing. Your gunmaya is like a bhava, and when you perform devotion, then your gunmaya bhava is slowly reduced until you become completely chinmaya. Is this?
Yeah, this whole thing, bhakti is ultimately is awareness. It's on the level of, that's why it is called bhava bhakti. This sadhana bhakti which we say kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sa sadhana vida. That kriti sadhya, because there is no other way, that we have to start with where we stand. So out of compassion, at least this facility has been given to us. Otherwise, how do you go to the bhava just like that? So start with the gross body, senses, jnanendriya, karmendriya, you engage them, and that will influence the bhava. That's why hearing, and that's why I said it enters sotrādishu pravishtayam satyam, entering through the ears. Hearing is so important. Then it enters. And then you act. So you hear and also stop abhyas and vairagya. Stop doing things which are non-devotional and engage in devotional activity. So then it will start influencing your mind slowly, because that's how the samskaras are created, by your external actions of jnanendriya and karmendriya. Raghavaji.
Mrs. Pandit, you just said that we are controlled by Chitta. Why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah.
Because that's how you are built up. Like computer is controlled by its program. So that's how you are.
But because the anarthas are there, or what is it?
Yes.
The anarthas are there.
Right.
So I thought we were controlled by the material mind, not by the chitta.
Chitta, material mind, buddhi, they are all together.
And then you said about the hot, the heat, and boiling water and that. But when one procrastinates the proper thing to do, or to abandon things which are inimical to Bhakti, etc., it's not that self-cheating, because you said that you cannot cheat yourself.
Yeah, it's self-cheating. When I say you cannot cheat yourself, means that you know when you are cheating. Generally, when you cheat somebody, that guy doesn't know that you are cheating.
Oh, I see. But one believes, yes, I will do it tomorrow, I will do it next week, I will do it next Christmas, like this, and this is wrong. That's cheating, you know?
That's you're cheating yourself.
What is the one way to
just stop it? Just stop it immediately from now onwards. Just stop. Why do you want to cheat yourself?
I don't want, but it happens.
So stop it. It doesn't happen unless you do it. You stop.
But what if unconscious tendencies bring you to sabotage your life?
Forget about unconscious. Work on the conscious ones.
Because you said we're controlled by Jiva, like this storage and that.
Yeah, so you already know that you know that certain things are wrong and you still do them, so don't do them. You decide that I'm not going to do it. But when the desire comes, then you say, tomorrow I will see. That's what you are saying. I will start from the 1st of next month. As if on the 1st something big is going to happen. It's the same day like any other day. Right? I'll start from my birthday or from New Year Day. Is New Year Day something special? What is so special about New Year Day? There are so many New Year days. In India we have another New Year Day. Here in South India they have another one, in Kerala another one, in West another one. So means all these days have got some speciality or what? You just trick of the mind, you know. That's all. What is there, you know? My birthday. What is there in birthday? Can you tell me? What is so special on birthday? It just people want to sell cards or whatever, so they say celebrate birthday. It's a day like any other day. And when I was born, what was so great about it? I was born like anyone else. I mean, what is so special? I don't understand. Anything special? But you want to celebrate it? Celebrate every day. Same every day.
Thank you, Pandita.
Okay, Mohini.
Pranam Maharaj, I have two questions. One, this speciality of the Gaudiya Vichar that was like not present in any other sampradayas. And our acharyas, they point out this special interpretation which is so unique in Gaudiya Vichar. When exactly this started, that they came to interpret in this way? Did this start by Mahaprabhu? He openly started to interpret this, or the Goswamis just got in their hearts by intuition, as a Brahma got realization internally?
Mahaprabhu told them. Okay, next question.
Next question is a follow-up question what Malathi asked. So this little thing of selfish desire, even if this body is spiritual, so this means that Yashoda and all the sakhas of Krishna, they were also completely pure. They had no desire to enjoy for themselves because they were associating with Krishna intimately?
Yes.
Okay, and when associate has selfish desire, he remains a satansita. So also Parikars in Vaikuntha, they are also completely pure. They don't have selfish desire.
Yes. Okay, Raghava.
Sorry, Pandit, I heard that, I never understood why Bhagavan would I never understood why Paramaguru did not like the idea of this Anarthani Vriti and this process, gradual process. Is it because you have to take a decision immediately or find this?
Who did not like?
I mean that Paramaguru did not like the idea of this Anarthani Vriti and then this and this, that, and that.
Just forget about that. Just drop that. You just try to understand what I'm teaching you. That's beyond this topic.
That's beyond. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Yeah.
I was wondering what actually was the separation, the spiritual separation about, because when I think material yesterday it was said that the suffering was so intense that we cannot imagine and not compare with material suffering. And when I think of material suffering, it's very self-centered in my experience. And then now you said that the gopis, there's no trace of this self-centeredness. So I also understand that at the beginning of all this, in the introduction, you explained that with material mind we cannot grasp, so I will not probably grasp it, but still, could you give some more?
When you are feeling separation from somebody, what is your thought?
Then I'm sad, actually.
No, why?
I would like to meet.
Yeah, so same thing. But you are thinking for yourself and they are thinking for him. They want to please him. Just the opposite on that.
Okay.
Because that's their whole love. They want to be with him and make him happy.
So is it... But still it is suffering.
Yeah, but it is not suffering as you are thinking.
Okay.
It's difficult to understand.
Okay.
It's spiritual suffering. Okay. So he says, iti anena bhaktya eva gunmaya vastu nam nirjayo nasha eva ukto bhagavata. So therefore he says that it's only by bhakti, first of all, bhaktya eva, that things which are gunmaya, which consist of the gunas, that they conquer over them, and that is called destruction. So now he comes back to the sloka where he says dussaha preshta viraha tivra tapa dhuta ashubha, that all these ashubha, inauspicious things were shaken. So now he gives the meaning, what really happened. He says ateva dhutani vidhutani tani randhitani ashubhani gunmaya sharirani yasham tait. So he says, therefore their gunmaya sharira, their bodies, now body here refers to physical, material, mind, mental, psychic. So this was randhita, it was burnt basically. Ashlesh nirvitya akshinani vivardhitani mangalani chinmaya sharirani. And then when it is said that by Krishna's embrace, because he appeared in their feeling mind and they felt bliss. So he said that removed all the mangala, auspicious things. So what does it mean? That their chinmaya bodies, chinmaya sharirani yashamta, that they bloomed. So the spiritual body bloomed and the material body disappeared, basically, that's what it means. Iti api arthas chikirshito bhavti. So he says this meaning also is desirable. Ataha prakshina bandhana avidya bandhat patyadi varnat cha yogamaya anukulyam prapya vichyuta ityartha. And therefore they became free from bondage. Free from bondage means bondage of avidya and also the bondage of the husbands, etc., who were trying to block them. So they were removed, which means that they became free now. marana vashat dehapataye eva tasam iti tu na vakyam. So now he makes it very clear that therefore here it should not be understood that their bodies dropped by dying. So there was no death involved here. He says one should not explain this. Why is that? Because Krishna will speak later on to Uddhava, Ya maya kridata ratriyam vaneyasmin vaja astita alabdharasa kalyanyo ma apur madvirya chintaya iti bhagavad vakya kalyanya iti pad upadanat. Because he will use the word kalyani for them. So kalyani means auspicious women. So death, somebody is dying, that is not considered as auspicious. So he said that these gopis, alabdha rasa, that who could not attain me in Rāsa-līlā, these kalyanis, they attained me, ma mapur, madvirya chintaya, by thinking of me. So here he says because the word kalyani has been used, so therefore it does not imply that there was any death involved, because that would be inauspicious. Where the word kalyani is used for auspiciousness. So this is the explanation, and still some more is remaining. He will speak little more on that. We'll read that tomorrow.
Babaji, I have a question regarding the conception of having a body, I mean any type of deha. So like the gopis, I mean they want to please Krishna, like they don't have any tinge of their personal desire to enjoy. But like any kind of body, if suppose is there would be an ahamta and a mamata also attached to the body, because they would be also having this conception that I am this gopi and I am from this and this, my father and this is my village and this is my husband kind of thing. So how does it completely, like they don't desire to enjoy, like it will be automatically the body becomes dear, right, to someone?
No,
I don't understand
because
that.
you are thinking like that. Just because they have the ahanta does not mean that they will have the sense of enjoying. That is because of our own experience we think like that. They have the ahanta, but their ahanta is not only that I am gopi, I belong to this. Their ahanta is also that I am lover of Krishna.
So that supersedes the desire for like
That is the
the
whole
dearness
idea.
to the body.
That's what is being described here. That they gave up all this aryapatham chahitva. That they gave up the aryapatha, that I am this so and so's wife and so's daughter, etc. Means this idea that I belong to Krishna, this supersedes everything else in them. Because you act according on your ahanta, right? Your duties, your activities, they emanate on your identity. So you are only thinking that their identity is just in relationship with their body, with the parents and husbands and etc. But this is what is being described here, that this love, this Uttama Bhakti transcends that. Just like Krishna, he is born to Vasudeva and Devaki, but he transcends that and comes to Vraj because of prema. So he has a ahanta as Devaki Nandan, or he has a ahanta as Yashoda Nandan? Which one? When he was in Vraja, what was his ahanta? Identity. Which one?
Yashoda.
Yashoda Nandan, right?
Right.
So why?
Bhava.
So this is what is being described here.
Okay, so Babaji, I'm just a little bit confused on the Siddha Deha. So when we receive Diksha, we begin having the Siddha Deha. So if we die before getting Diksha, we don't have a Siddha Deha, essentially. But in a past life, if we had received Diksha, would we carry over that Siddha Deha?
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Okay, all right, thank you.
Malati?
Is there still time, Babaji, or should I ask tomorrow?
You can ask.
I'm just wondering about that Gunamai Deha again. If these gopis were already enjoyed by the husbands, so before I understood that the body which they gave up was the gross body which had been enjoyed by their husbands. And now they had a purely spiritual body, but now you explained that it refers to the subtle contamination in the mind. So in that case, how could, if they already had a spiritual body, then how could they be enjoyed by their husbands, and then what was given up? Then how could Krishna enjoy that same body?
So he will explain that point. Rest of the commentary.
Okay.
Tomorrow. Tanmaji.
Babaji, I just want to reconcile one more thing. So we see Narad Muni's story, the Panchavartika, that is Sadhananiyata, that he was, when it came time, his material body fell and he was united with the Siddha Deha. Today we learn that during sadhana there are two bodies. There is Gunamai and then there is a spiritual. So during sadhana, then the spiritual body, so-called body that Chakravarti Pada is talking about, is really a subtle body, not a gross spiritual body. Okay? So it's a subtle body that the senses and the mind are being spiritualized. And then when there is time for bhava and then the body, material body, the other body drops, then this person will get the Siddha Deha. The Siddha Deha, which is actual gross body, that goes with that subtle body. Would that be correct?
Yeah. That's why it is called Bhav Sharira.
Right.
Okay.